Barangay Bulalakaw, Channel 63. Wherever we're at, there we are. We've got one of the most beautiful, amazing, majestic Rizal monuments I've come across, that's littered with absolute amazing symbolism and profound esoteric ancient iconographies. So I really wanted to showcase this while I'm here, and hopefully we can tap into some of the meanings behind the symbolisms at this Rizal monument in Naga City, Camarines Sur. Let's check it out. Interestingly enough, as some of you know, we just came from Kagsawa, which after doing a little research, I was able to ascertain that Kagsawa is very much, etymologically speaking, similar to Tag in Tagalog. Kag would be like the place of or from the, in the Bicolano language dialect. And so Kagsawa actually means the place of the serpents, or the from the place of the serpents. And interestingly enough, here, as some of you may know, we're in Naga City, and for those religious or historical buffs, Naga is one of the ancient serpent deities or races of half human, half serpent beings, which can be found in both Hinduism, Buddhism, the animist and anatismist, or the anatismos religions and ancient beliefs all throughout Asia, Southeast Asia, Eurasia, and much of the ancient world. The Naga on into the Americas with the Quetzalcoatl and the Kukulcans, which interestingly enough was architecturally represented there at the Kagsawa ruins in Bicol. And the Naga were said to be somewhat of a half man, half serpent, half deity race of beings that walked with us, that walked amongst us, that those of those particular faiths, some still say they still dwell in and out of the realm that we find ourselves in. I actually have a really powerful, profound story from Kuya Porting doon sa Bohol, as we entered one of the most sacred places and caves there on Lamanok Island, that I'm really looking forward to sharing with everybody about that same topic. So let's go ahead and begin to check out some of the beautiful motifs and symbols that we have here at this wonderful Rizal monument in Naga City. As you can see, it's very majestic, very profound. One of the most beautiful I've seen. And the really interesting symbolisms here of the ancient Grecan, from ancient Greece, and a little bit of Roman thrown in there as well. But there's an ancient Greek myth about a famous sculptor whom became lost and astray and wearisome of his fellow town folk and that of the opposite sex, and he sought out to create a sculpture, a statue of his perfect woman. And as you see there, the hammer and the chisel of the sculptor, the artist, what happened was he labored so long and so hard on this sculpture in his desire to create the perfect love, the perfect beauty, the ideal woman. And the sculptor grew the eye of one of the goddesses, Aphrodite, and she became so entrenched in his story that she decided to give life to his masterpiece. And so it was. He labored and labored, and finally, after a great period of time, he looked up and saw that his masterpiece was the most beautiful, the most ideal, the most prestigious woman that anyone had ever gazed upon. And Aphrodite sanctioned their marriage and their relationship, and he always gave praise to her from that point forward. And that was the tale of the Greece, famous sculptors of ancient Greece. And I believe that that's what this represents, this desire to seek perfection. And while this one is representation of a female sculptor, I think it's quite clear on what her intent is, and what her ideal being is, as she stands there amongst the high pedestal that he should be upon. And as you can see, if it's not clear already, you have the angel, the female angel or goddess pointing to him to say clearly, definitively, he is the triumphant, divine, the eternal paragon to attempt to be molded towards, or attempt to be sought after within ourselves. The perfect example, or the perfect sculpture of what we can all hope to create within ourselves and within our communities and within our families and villages. And here, one of the interesting symbols that I haven't seen anywhere else on Rizal monuments is the eagle perched on the wreath. The wreath is one of the most ancient symbols that represent divinity, that represents royalty, as the most ancient of tribes and kingdoms and chiefdoms anywhere across the world often used the most sacred plants and vines, the like, to create their coronas, or their crowns. And it also symbolizes the ring, which is the ring of eternity, the ring of revolution, the ring of resurrection, rebirth. And I believe the eagle perched upon it represents that venture, that journey, in this case, is true, is squared and leveled and triumphant, as that eagle represents often with the wreath, triumph, and the sacred bearer of divinity. The gods must be in agreement. Here we have another beautiful symbol, as you can see the traditional Filipino dress, and there with the child with his book bag and his school lunch, if you will, pointing up to Rizal as our ultimate paragon, as our ultimate example to strive for, to give admiration to set as our marker, as our destination, both individually and as a group, as a village, try to strive for. And as Rizal said, you know, the children are the most precious gift that we should protect and preserve and enlighten to our most greatest abilities, as they are our future. And alongside that, Rizal also said that for us to reach that true, that proper, that great destiny or destination, we must first know from which we came. And that is one of the most powerful gifts we can give to our children, which I hope to be able to do if I have not already. That truth, that light, and that knowledge of their true origin and from which they came. So they can walk a clear, enlightened, and straight path. As for, you can take a person's things, you can take their money or their jewels or their precious material objects, which is fine and dandy, as those really don't bear much value in reality. But the one thing that is priceless in this world, that if stolen, is of the most heinous type of thing to steal and act, which is time. The time it takes to restore one's history, one's family, one's roots. To steal that from someone is one of the most heinous of acts, romantically speaking, and one of the most greatest of objects that can be stolen. I think what great things have done for their people, their places of providence, their cultures, if they had all of that time given back to them, as they were of that size, of that age. How great things could have already been obtained by all if it weren't for that loss of time. So, do not hide those things from your children. Teach them directly and teach them properly. See wonders. Here we have very interesting symbolism of another Filipino goddess, most certainly a Dayota or a Tara or a Babaylan or Tamblan, depending on your place of province. Maria Makina, if you will. Excuse for me not having the proper jargon here in Camarines. I'm sure that we have our own proper name in terms for our goddesses here. But one of the interesting things you see here is farming utensils. Much in an ancient format, so I'm going to have to double check on that one. But if that be the case, you may associate it with the No Limitang Ere, which we discussed in depth during our first annual Camino San Rizal. And is very much directly associated with the second life, or the resurrected life, or the ascended, enlightened life after death, or life after resurrection. The continuation of the seed that was born from that particular individual or teaching or and that actually goes very much in association with the other item she's holding, which is that staff of Mercury, which is more ancient than Rome or Greece. It goes back to Mesopotamia and even further back to the most ancient symbols that we can find in all civilizations so far, which is the staff with the two serpents entwined and the helmet of Mercury with the wings, both of which were carried by the god Mercury and his precedents, and those roots that was sprout up from. And the staff, interestingly enough, is associated with many great powers and abilities of the gods, or the demigods, or the Nephilim, or the children of the gods, and it's always associated with a deified being or element, and also resurrection, as if utilized upon the dead, it can resurrect them and bring them new life. If used them into an until such a time the wielder so chooses. There are many other deep symbolisms within alchemy and within the power of this staff to transmutate negative or evil things or elements into good ones, or great ones, or positive ones. And there are many other deep symbolisms here that hopefully we can discuss fairly soon. But I feel there to be a brewing. Gods of the ThunderBolts, which is also associated with Mercury and his parents and his staff, his serpent staff, and helmet, the ThunderBolt, the gods of the sky. So they seem to be speaking to us and giving us a little, what do they call? Omen, if you will. A good omen, I would like to say, since we need all the rain we can get. Thunder and lightning. Here we have some of the other ancient symbols of such as the harp and the scroll, which we've seen on many other Rizal monuments. The scroll is definitely a reoccurring theme. All that being said, this is one of the most powerful and profound Rizal monuments I've ever seen, and absolutely stunning. Rizal in all of his prestige there, with a book. I can't make out if it's Nole Tarsier or which book exactly, but he has a very interesting hand gesture there as well. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but he's almost, see that, almost, he's got the two small fingers are curled tightly, and the next ones are recedingly left open. It almost looks as if there was something there at the tip of his index finger, it would seem as such he would be slipping it into his sleeve, and if there was nothing to be meant there, it seems as such he's enticing folks to listen or to come into the fold, if you will. As you can see, the rain has begun, and I feel like we've discussed a good amount of this monument of Rizal. It's absolutely amazing. But even more, well, I wouldn't say more, but there's another interesting monument that I want to check out across the way. And if it is what I think it is, this is going to be really cool, because I haven't seen one like this before, and it might be the first one. Let's check it out. Stop. Let's see. It's just right across the park here. So, I don't know if you guys can see this, but my motorcycle has almost got a Bahay Kubo on the back. It's filled with pasalubong. So let's check it out. Let's see what we got here in this next little park area. So when I drove by it, it seemed to me like it was one of the goddesses holding Rizal after his execution, Pagkamamamayan. Now, I couldn't tell because I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, but if it is that, this is going to be really cool. It may be one of my favorite Rizal monuments, if it is that. Let's check this out. Okay, look at this. El Pueblo, Camarines Sur, a sus 15 martires, 96. It's a monument to the martyrs of Bicol, but I just can't tell. Let's go over this here. This is really interesting because top it looked like the scene from Rizal with his hat, but let's go through it. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if you guys see this, but does P. Inocencio Herrera, he kind of looks like he could be a relative of Rizal. I don't know, but just saying. Leon Hernandez, Manuel Bella, sorry, Gabriel Prieto, Ramon Abella, Tomas Prieto, Cornelio Mercado, Mariano Ordenanza, Macario Valentin, Mariano Melgarejo, Mariano Arana, Domingo Abella, Florencio Lerma, Severino Diaz, and Camilo Jacob. And I can't tell exactly who's there at the top. Square, but it looked a lot. It looked very much like, I guess his hands aren't tied behind his back. Maybe it's because those they look alike that I saw the glimmer. But and then it looked like the hat, but I'm not sure who exactly that's representing. But I recently saw a sculpture of Sacred Mother holding the descended Christ, and I thought it would be such a beautiful sculpture or painting to have, let's say, a Maria McKeeling or a Tioata or something of that nature holding the recently descended Rizal. I thought that would be beautiful, so that's why I thought this was. I'm not sure, it could be. We'll have to do some more exploring on that one. But let's check this out here. We have the eagle, I believe. Yeah, it looks like a bald eagle. Creaming, ibinibentang sa kanila. Sila ay binaril sa Luneta, Maynila noong 4 de Enero 1897. Mga binaril, Dominga Abella, Manuel Abella, Sabrina Diaz, Inocencio Herrera, Camilo Jacob, Florencio Lerma, Mariano Melgarejo, Cornelio Mercado, Gabriel Prieto, Tomas Prieto, at Macario Valentin, namatay sa bilang buwan sa isang ukay na hindi natuntun kailanman. National Historical Institute, 1982, one of the best years ever, if I might add, since it was the year I was born. Joking, of course, biro lang ako. Bromeando, mis amigos, bromeando. Alright, well that's it. That's it. I need to find some shelter, and then we got to get to the road because I still have a bunch of projects to accomplish and finish up with, and I got to get back to Parañaque because we got little Carlos Quinto on the way. So mahal na mahal ako sa inyong lahat. Amping, ingat, hinay kayo lagi, cuidando, mis amigos, take care. Adios, arrivederci, over and out.